Do you have anything else you want to tell me, sir?
Um,
Motivated, determined, resilient, confident, mentally untouchable. Notice I didn't say physical because no man is.
since this timeline of abuse has started, like I said, I've been dealing with a lot of offline stalking. People are taking pictures of my home, and like I said, personally, I know it's hearsay, but I feel like all of this, because I've been doing social media for about 10 years, and the worst time of my life has been when she started doing 13-hour interviews about me, going into these hate discords. This is a whole hate discord used to basically go at my social media, slander me 24/7. And the fact that she's in here as my child's mother is extremely egregious. So I feel like the best way for me to be protected is I have to have a restraining order. My safety is a risk. People know where I live. She's discussing if I have firearms. She's mentioning my mortgage paperwork. Just things that don't need to be said. If we share a child together, there's no reason for this woman to be trying to figure out ways to dismantle me online and put my safety at risk, considering that in the future, that same child will have to be at that same house.
LowTierGod, more like low-tier lawyer, because this is someone with no law training, no experience, and yet somehow he has a better win rate in court than Nick Rekieta. LowTierGod killed it, got custody of his daughter, got the restraining order, and is now taking an epic W against the haters. What actually happened here? Why are the LowTierGod hate community, why are they so mad about this situation? Obviously, I haven't been following along with it. You know, I don't follow along with the day-to-day lives of any YouTuber, but I think it's very self-apparent, like, why we got this result, considering, like, how LowTierGod or Dalian Sparrow, how do you say? I'm sorry if I butchered his name, but like this guy has been treated by the online community because his baby mama made the very poorly advised decision to go on social media and go to his hate community to slander him, essentially. She knew that these people were stalking him, right? She knew that this was a way to get back at him. She knew this would be cause him personal problems, and he was able to leverage this in court. This isn't 2010, okay? You know, the boomer judges aren't going to look at this and try and tell you that, like, the internet isn't real. Like, no. Like, what we're seeing now is that the internet has real consequences and does indeed result in real legal issues that do need to be addressed. So traditionally, you would get away with something like this. Originally, like, no one would care. There would be no recourse. But the law has caught up with these kinds of online actions, okay, these kinds of targeted online harassments. People hear about these stories all the time. And as a result of that, you know, judges today are going to look at these situations and they have a precedent to protect people from, you know, determined online harassers. Like, it isn't something that people don't take seriously anymore. And as a result of that, you know, LowTierGod, with his mountain of evidence that people are harassing him and are actively coming after him and are trying to find personal information about him and his daughter, like the baby mama coming out and trying to give these people personal information and trying to, like, you know, cause him personal problems and personal grief, that is like a serious allegation. And that's something that, like, a lot of people don't seem to understand. Because I'm seeing a lot of people, like, saying things that, like, oh yeah, he said bad things about the daughter on stream, he's abusive, yada yada yada. But, like, I think LowTierGod did a very good job, like, convincing the court that the online harassment was real, as opposed to like, passing comments he made on stream that like, the judge probably never even saw. Like, the issue is that the baby mama actively tried disparaging this man's character, his his actions, like, she tried defaming him. She tried like slandering him online. Like, again, she tried like actively harassing him. And like, I don't think it's unreasonable to take legal action against someone, in real life who is trying to negatively affect your online income, especially if you have a child together. Okay, so like I'm actually 100% on a LowTierGod side on this in this situation. Obviously, we'll have to see how the situation develops. Obviously, there may be more to the story. There's always more to the story, but I think it's very clear, and I think it's very easy to see how the judge arrived at her decision and how this is going to like kind of affect things going forward. We'll have to see if this results in anything like, more transparent. But I do think the LowTierGod community, they really do have this tendency of like demonizing this guy and acting like he's some horrible human being because, like, I don't know, he gets mad at fighting games sometimes. Like, I do think this is it's unreasonable, and I do think that people need to more seriously think about like the ramifications of what they're doing, as opposed to like, thinking it's just an all in good fun, or it's just a little bit of trolling, or that there's no serious consequences of this. Like, if you genuinely believe that LowTierGod is a terrible person, like your actions of harassing him have led him to getting a legal victory over his baby mama. Yeah, this is entirely your fault in a sense. Again, we're at the point now where the law takes cyberbullying and cyber harassment very, very seriously, because it is a very serious thing. And because of your actions, LowTierGod, if he did anything wrong, would have gotten away with it simply because he was able to like, establish that there was a dedicated group of people out to get him. Like, it was a real thing. It wasn't a conspiracy. It wasn't a cope. He was able to demonstrate that it was real. And I feel like this is something that online trolls are not going to be able to deal with, is that, in this day and era, Kiwi Farms is very well known. People understand them. People know them by reputation, and they're well aware that for the most part, they completely make up everything about a lot of their personalities that they cover online. And this is like a very good example of that. If the baby mama really was going out and are like, doing interviews with people like trying to ruin his life, yeah, that is grounds for legal action. And that's something that I think a lot of people just can't wrap their minds around. They're still stuck in that like early internet like mindset where they can just kind of say and do whatever they want. And that's simply not the case anymore. And I would argue hasn't been the case in a long time. Like the Wild West phase of the internet is over, and this is a very, very good example of that.